Woohoo! What's good, everyone? It's your boy, Matt Diazable, doing some more music reviews. Yeah! Today I am checking out the band Dead Icarus with their album Zealot. If you've never heard of Dead Icarus, they are a metalcore band based out of California, and they are fronted by the ex-vocalist of the big metalcore band Atreyu. After he left that band back in 2022, 2021, he started this new band here called Dead Icarus to continue his creative process of making music, of making art, and he's not giving up on the metal scene that he's been a part of for over 2 decades. And so I've always, when I heard he departed from the band, I kind of kept tabs on him, but I never got to listen to any material that came out. And then when I started doing these reviews, I was like, oh, I remember that band he started, Dead Icarus. Let's see what's going on with them. And that's how I came across this new album, or their debut album, here in 2024. With this debut from Dead Icarus, there are some good moments of grooviness and heaviness on this album. And there's some moments on here that are really good, but overall the whole listening experience feels a little bit uneven because of I guess not the best production / some uninspiring elements on this record. The band is able to make some really good hard-hitting breakdowns with some good riffs, but there's a lot of inconsistency with the production, particularly the vocals, and that's what's really holding this band back from reaching its full potential. A good example of that is on the opening track, The Unconquerable. It has a very large, epic feel to it with the big riffs, the big drums, but the inconsistency of the I guess the production and recording, because the vocals seem really drowned out later in the song, and the bass seems too high at times. And so everything kind of feels a little bit, I guess, inconsistent and janky a bit, because you can't hear his vocals that well. And when he's screaming, it does feel like his vocals are a bit strained, like he's pushing too hard to get his vocals out. He doesn't sound as good as he was a couple years ago. So a little bit of a mixed bag there, so I'll play a clip of that song for you right now. His vocals are really pushed down on there, and he sounds really like he's struggling a bit. Next song, Bearing Burdens and Saving Skin, it has a very massive feel to it with the bass and fast drumming, has a very catchy chorus and overall evil sounding breakdown, but it gets bogged down by some muddled production. And like I said, consistently throughout this album, the production really hinders this band a bit. On Zealot, everything on here sounds really good. The vocals seem a bit stronger. They have more of a solid and denser riffs and good drumming here, but the pacing of the song is not the strongest. Even though they have a really cool thrashy structure to it, it kind of feels a bit like they kill their own momentum with the slower sound to it, with that pace. Then you have 1 Million Days, which is probably one of the more balanced songs on the album, if not one of the most standout tracks, because it has a really good pacing to it, good chorus and good vocal mix. And just overall, the sound of the band sounds really tight and consistent here. So I'll play a clip of that song for you right now. It's got a good classic rock and metal feel to it. They were able to pull it off really well with this. Temptation's Kiss is a little bit more of a slower song with, it has more of a power metal feel to it, especially with the guitar solo. But I will say, even though it has some really heavy and dark sounds to it, the song's length really brings the song down, because it just runs for a little bit too long. It feels a little bit bloated, and the heavy bass toning just kind of kills it a bit. But after that, you get Casting Spells, which does a really good job of capturing that power metal feel with the fast playing and the intense guitar solo that just makes it one of the most dynamic songs on the album. With Hell Opens Its Mouth, the band is really able to create some creepy atmospheres and really slowly build upon themselves, and then bring some really heavy vocals and drumming here to create a very, very, I wouldn't say dynamic song, but a song that's a little bit more impressive compared to what's been on this record so far. So I'll play a clip of that for you right now. Didn't see that coming, did you? Vendo Retro has a really creepy and witch-like sound to it, and the clean vocals sound really good on this particular song. However, the unclean vocals, which keep, you know, throughout this whole album, the unclean vocals keep like dragging the album down a little bit, because it just doesn't sound as good vocally, how his performance is, and just the mix of them. He sounds really muffled and not that great. Secrets in the Dark is a nice interlude in the middle of the album that does help create that haunting, dark feel with the guitars and drums, and helps transition the album from the A side to the B side pretty nicely. So they did a really good job with that. The song Fountains of Death also fall into the pitfalls of, you know, their big inconsistencies with the production and the muffled vocals and the overpowering guitars. It's what's really holding this band back from being really good. One thing that I think is really good about this band and this album, which I hope they improve on and do more of, is that they're able to create some really catchy choruses, and you know, they don't feel as utilized here on this album, but you know, they are the highlights of the album, especially when they're incorporated with those clean vocals. They sound really good. And another thing that's really good about this band is they're really good at doing transitions from different parts of their songs to other parts. They feel like really experienced musicians here, and can make somewhat, you know, well-paced songs at times. There is potential with this band and this album, because like I said, they have really good choruses. They have some good riffs that, you know, aren't that bad, clean vocals that sound really good, and some decent song structures here and there. However, I would say there's three things about this album that, you know, I feel like were consistent problems, and you know, were holding this album back a little bit, and that was inconsistent mixing. It felt very uneven with the mix. Some things were louder and buried here and there. The vocals sound very strained at times, and you know, like really harsh, like he was pushing himself too hard and it sounded painful. And then also just some generic playing of metal here at times. So it was a mix of those three things that, you know, didn't make this debut the strongest it could have been. Fans of like very groovy and melodic style metal will really enjoy this album, and I can appreciate them, you know, making this album, putting their art out, but I would say there's a lot of room for improvement in terms of better production and overall a tighter focus and tighter playing style. Maybe just stick with the clean vocals, because the unclean vocals, or at least bring out the unclean vocals in the mix. Maybe he can't do them as strong as he did before. I think they got to figure something out there, because this debut from Dead Icarus, not the best and not the strongest, I think, but not the worst. So I would say this debut from Dead Icarus is a good and decent 6 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think about this band. And like always, guys, I will see you in the pit.